Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to my channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid. Roles can be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also, on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, to see how they play as karmic themes, help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is. Because most of the time, it's not about whether your person has feelings for you. We know because we can feel that, right? ESP through the heart and mind. So when it's a spiritual connection, you can feel when the person's around you. You can feel when the person's not. So it's not a question whether the person has feelings because the person wouldn't be around you if they didn't have feelings. It's the it's the thing where we wind up ruminating on why they're doing what they're doing, why they're not being honest, why there's a feeling like the person has very strong feelings for you, but then they continually hurt you. What is the whole spiritual significance? Why do we need to go through this? Because all it does is bring pain, right? Well, thankfully there is a way to transmute your pain into power, and that really all the time the universe is talking to you through everyone and everything that comes into your life. It's to ask a lot of times, why is this happening? A lot of times will find yourself around people that might trigger you, or they don't like you for no reason. Why does that happen? These type of situations are all spiritual. And why? Because they make you think. Now, if someone has the potential to keep you in a negative energy, well, then you have a wound there. Nobody has that power over you. See, they can't make you ruminate or stay stuck unless there's an actual block there to begin with. The universe brought this person into your life. So that's the good news. The other good news is you can integrate the spiritual lesson, and not just integrate it by learning to see how you contributed to the imbalances, but to embody a whole other consciousness. That's how you shape shift your situation. And that really mind fucks with karmics. You know why? Because they're so sure they know who you are. That's why. And it's not all the time because they really took the time to get to know you, but they read into that energy. They're watching the way that you are, right? Again, if you're loving, kind, you give enough, they pretty much think, oh, I pretty much know how you're going to act. So when you change because you're like, oh, I see how I'm contributing to this. Well, again, they don't have a choice to to change. And that's the whole point. There's many different realities that play out at one time. A lot of times you could be with that karmic. It could work out. That doesn't mean that if you were healthy and in an imbalanced place that you would want them. Most likely you wouldn't. That's the irony. That's the irony. That's why a lot of times when you get what you want, you're like, I wanted this. The chase was so much more exciting than the prize. And it's because, again, what you perceive that that person was. It's not really who they are. A lot of times, the way that they're showing you with their habits and their behaviorisms, they're telling you how the relationship would be. All right. Now, everybody knows that I've been starting off with just looking at your energy because I'm a little you get tired of like hearing about these stupid people. Every now and again there is a soulmate and a life partner. I mean, we do get that on the channel, but we mainly deal with shadows and blockages. And if you have blockages in your relationships, a lot of times you'll see it in other areas of your life. So this is a healing channel. The readings have a therapy style to them, again, to make you understand why everything's doing what it's doing, but also what you need to do to heal. That's the most important thing. Where a lot of times the cards might not channel that. Okay, so whatever tools, skills, and abilities you need to accomplish your life's purpose are available to you. So you may be struggling with money right now. I feel like normally I pull out 6 cards. I don't know why I just pulled one and read it, but I guess Spirit wanted us to do it that way. And so what's on the table is, I'm not making any money. I'm not seeing the money. I'm not seeing the results. Where's my opportunity? Where's my fucking opportunity? I see everybody else gets opportunities. Why is it so difficult for me? So there's all that. energy, and that's a lot of emotional energy of fear. And it's not based on what's happening in the present moment. It's taking you into previous and maybe not even yours. If you grew up with a family or at a time in your life, a lot of people have trauma from being in college where they could only eat ramen noodles. I had a client that is like, I didn't know knew what it was like, and they hoarded money, but then they always lost their money. See, money has no energy except for the energy that you give it. And so if you have fear, which again, this situation is pulling up, or everything that's out of alignment, that's why Spirit said, let's just look at this energy right now. And let's pull from another deck. Oh, we're getting creative. Okay, right away. I feel like you may be changing career paths more into education, more into speaking, like more into maybe sales. And so Spirit's saying maybe it's not exactly what you're doing that you're not seeing the results. So you may be someone that's like, I want to be a healer, but I really don't know how to bring that into fruition. Or I really want to be an educator, but I don't know what to talk about. Spirit saying you're going that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. God says, please don't do my job. Don't do my job. Do your job. When you do your job, you're always coming from a place of fear, and we drive right off the fucking cliff. Please, please give Jesus the wheel because you don't know what you're doing. And so there's a sense of this anxiety, and Spirit says, it hasn't happened yet. My plan's better than yours. I'm all knowing. You're not. You're stuck in a perception of what I want, what I want, what I want. It's like the child self that never was satisfied, Spirit saying. Well, back to the purple. Look at this. Your words have power beyond the infinite understanding of your planetary mind. I feel like someone's really frustrated with where they are within their process. It's like maybe you're like, I've kept reliving this experience. It's not like a one and done. Like I have reason. And God says, don't get into that logical mind. Your mind is very, very limited due to the experiences that you lived and the people that you are in your environment that you can perceive. But don't do my job. You're doing my job again. So we see a really bad root chakra imbalance here. And that root chakra is your connection to the earth, your connection to mother and father, your connection to stability, your connection to your physical body. And that's the most important because you can't go back in time. So Spirit says you got to get back into your body. You have to get back into your body. You have to ground because only in the now do I give you divine guidance. Through gut, intuition, inner knowing. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. When one door closes, another door opens. You're not in charge. Learn to go with the flow. You like to control. That's a fear thing. And I hate to say it, but Scorpios are known for that because they're psychic. And they're like, I already know that they're not going to do it. I already know. Why am I going to sit here and watch the train hit me? And Spirit says, don't do my job. This situation is different because you've been different. But I'm not seeing the results. God says again, timing. Understand I protect you with timing. When things take a long time and you feel like I'm in between the fucking place. What do you mean? Well, when you're in a tunnel and you're going from maybe Germany to like a different country, but you're stuck in the middle and you're like, okay, we're stuck. We're just stuck. Nothing's happening. And the Spirit says, you're in a hold. And I'm going to show you certain patterns that need to be cleared. That's what you're seeing. It's like you want to pass go and collect the 200. This is what you got to do. But, everything is still happening. It's like lack of faith. Again, Spirit says, you don't understand. You're going to like actually move. Whatever you're doing, I'm feeling a lot of stuff here. Whatever you're doing, it's something that's really like maybe innovative or you're doing it your own way. And maybe no one else has ever done anything like this before. Or maybe a few people have, but not the way that you do it. So the Spirit's saying, hey, unfortunately, when you bring something out into the world and it's like no one else has done it, well, you're going to get a lot of different opinions. You're going to get a lot of people that get triggered in all different ways. Some people are going to love you, some people are not going to like you, some people are going to then look at themselves and say, well, what am I doing with my life, and compare. So you get all this different energy, and spirit says part of being a leader is to be able to cut out, mind chatter and other people's opinions, not care. Because here it is, it's almost like you're being moved into a new career path and it just hasn't opened up yet. So spirit's saying is that's all that's happening. It's like, again, it's not, it might be very similar to what you're doing, just maybe in a different department, and that's really what spirit's saying. Like, you're in a place of healing. So it feels really uncomfortable because it's not the healing that you can go to a person. It's where God is showing you, hey, this is what needs to be cleared. Certain people need to go out of your life. You're in a holding space, and a holding space is the most uncomfortable because your spirit is like, I'm ready. I'm ready. Where is it? I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. But spirit is saying, well, I see things that you don't. Don't do my job. It's like you don't see that there are certain people should be in your life. You don't see that certain. So I make sure that everything's aligned at its right time. So yes, I am stretching you, is what spirit's saying, and that's where you become very. It brings out all this energy of where you have to be able to discern, and that means tap into the higher self, to what's going on, meaning don't judge by your past experiences. Spirit says discernment is a spiritual gift that you get from the Holy Spirit. What's really happening, because you're stuck in a cycle, almost like because of what has previously happened. And the spirit says, you have to go through the fire. You have to, like, that's what the symbolization of walking on hot coals is. Hot coals, it hurts to walk on it. How do people do that? They breathe and they meditate through it. Listen, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'm a spiritual person. I got to train my nervous system too. I'm being honest with you. Or go into the cryo machine, where it's so freaking cold and you got to breathe. Going into an ice bucket and breathe. It shows that you're, again, not strong within yourself. It affects your nervous system. And that's, again, the root chakra. Root chakra, when we're talking about the physical body, which we have to, because, again, ancestral blockages of fear affect the nervous system, the endocrine system, and the skeleton system, all major systems of the physical body. Then you're going to also see problems within money, problems within being grounded, again, and a lack of connection to source, feeling like, where are you? And God saying, I'm here. You're the one that's Russell not listening.
Support sent a long notification.
Shut up. So, that's really what spirit's saying. So, and it's in a very uncomfortable spot. You might feel like, I've been in this holding spot for about 10 years now. I feel like it's forever. And so it's making it really like, but you're clearing uncomfortable. So it's like you can't change what's going on. You change yourself, and that's what you forget. It's, again, the Scorpios are like that because they're emotional. It's emotional, and Scorpios manifest like that when they get balanced, though. Understand that, because they get laser focused and they're like, I know what I want and I'm not budging from that, and I can, like, whatever it is, but it takes them a little while to, like, straighten out their emotions, and because their mind is so strong. But how do you manifest the thoughts that you think and the emotions that you have? So spirit's saying you have to get a better connection to me. That's what it comes down to. That's what I see, because the connection to the higher self is that God part of self. And how do you access it? Through the theta level of the mind. Why? That's going to get you into a place of peace, and you're able to hear things. You're able to see things. You're in the psychic ESP mind. It's a known fact. ESP Ultramind system. Get it. Download it. You need it. You need it because, again, your mind. You recondition your mind. The environments that we grow up in, like, they condition us out of that. and school reconditions you out of that because it puts you into the left brain, which is logical and analytical. So the world will again change you. But if you want to have real ground, if you want to feel safe and supported, you're not depending on just you and your perceptions. You grow your faith. You grow a better connection to source because what you know is all the power comes from source through the Holy Spirit. Is what spirit is saying. It's like you're basing your life on ancestral karma. You can break that ancestral karma, but you need to break the patterns that got you there. That's what we inherit. DNA is affected by the inherited habits and behaviorisms. That's what turns on DNA and off DNA. That's why sickness and disease is only 5% inherited. But if you act the same way that your parents acted, you'll get the same thing. So Spirit's saying this is what's on the table at the moment, holding space. And it's saying that things are happening. It's just, you're like, I'm not seeing, if I don't see anything. External validation. So we'll show up as constantly seeking approval or recognition from others, often at the expense of self-worth. May manifest as feeling of insecurity, anxiety, emptiness, and external praise or acceptance is lacking. So again, when we don't really have a strong connection to ourselves and we don't and understand, how does one get that? It's through that purpose. And what does this say? The purpose hasn't really came into fruition yet. Doesn't mean that you're not putting energy out there. It means, is this your dream job? No, it's coming. And understand Spirit saying, but it's how you handle everything. So again, maybe you're like, I don't see it, so maybe I need to get a lot of readings, or maybe I need to ask a lot of people, and then it confuses you more. That's why Spirit says don't ask anybody else, because you never know who you're asking. Some people might not want to be clapping for you. You don't know. And that's not a mean thing if they're not happy in their life. So I'm not, but Spirit says the answers are inside of you. This is about getting strong. Guilt and shame show up as constant sense of unworthiness, like carrying a weight of past mistakes. And a lot of times money issues that are aligned with that, right? Because it's embarrassing, right? Like if you can't pay your rent or you're having financial issues, it's like there's a sense of not feeling strong or supported. And that does bring a lot of shame. And then if you have children and you have other things, there's a lot of guilt that does go along with that. But understand you grew up in that. You grew up in that. And why I say that, if you grow up in an environment where your parents were not happy in their life, they didn't give you what they could possibly give to you. They also projected a lot of their own fears, their perceptions, because remember, they weren't rooted in God. They weren't rooted in anything except for themselves. And they had the habits and behaviorisms that, that their ancestors did. But unfortunately, the ancestor lived through a war, I mean? So Spirit's saying, like, you need to drop the judgments, because what'll happen is you create a block. You have a block, and the judgment creates another block on top of it. So Spirit says, don't judge. You're looking at things through limited perception. Now, only one more for this one, and this is what you need to look out for you, and then we'll go right into the relationship. Okay, we already knew this, but family origin, it came from your family. This isn't even your shit. It means that you grew up into in a negative covenant where there was money issues. And understand, when there's money issues, then there's always negative talk. And remember what it said. It says your words have, like, they're spells. They have planetary, they go way beyond what you perceive. So when you're screaming and you're mad and you're frustrated, you're not working with the universe. So it's a time when you're in holding. Spirit's saying, relax. And that's the hardest thing to do. And Spirit says, again, you need to meditate. You need to get a stronger connection to me, and that's through your physical body. And you need to understand that everything is happening in accordance to time, because you'll sabotage yourself if you get so mad and you're not grounded and then you're not paying attention. Spirit says, Be grounded, be in the moment. Everything this is, you're not reliving anything because you've created new habits, new behaviorisms. So you're not going to get the same results. It just hasn't happened yet. Relax. Spirit saying, don't do my job. You don't see everything that I see. You know, Jojo down the block wants to steal that job from you, or Mary Jane, is jealous and spreading lies. So I need to. You don't know, like I said, that what's going on. So, and that's a hard thing, especially if you've lived experiences. But Spirit saying, I'm asking you to grow your faith. I'm asking you to get more grounded. I'm asking you to control your nervous system. That's a big deal because if you don't, nervous system issues are going to create a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression, a lot of like your emotions will go up and down. And the spirit's saying, so it's healthy for you. You didn't grow up in that environment. You grew up with people that were fearful around their survival because money is that. So spirit's saying, so this isn't you. You're not reliving that. There's a sense of no, well, it fucking feels like it. And spirit says, because it hasn't happened yet. Again, divine timing. All right. So then we look at your relationship. Where is this person? What do they think? What are they thinking about you? Just like, again, nor here nor there. We're not looking at wounds right now. What are the hidden truths? I can't stop thinking about you. And I feel like because you're really in this energy of, I want to make things happen, I want my money. I'm not even thinking about you. I lost myself for a little while. I don't know why. I kind of feel like this person's going through like either a divorce or a major life change. So, and I also feel, I don't know why I'm feeling this, but we're gonna see like they might do like have a drinking problem or a smoking problem because this person I feel like is living real trauma again. Like they're in a karmic loop where they've gone through similar experience before. And so the way that they've learned to deal with their life is to check out, be an avoidant. And so you might have not felt this person for a while, which is not comforting, by the way, because all that energy of avoidance and alcoholism or drug addiction is usually where you came from as well, because money issues. It's time for me to heal now. So I think it's not even with you, with this person. It's like, yes, there is a sense of, I can't stop thinking about you because I'm sure you told this person, hey, keep going on the track, you know what's going to happen. And they thought that you were like, a little too conservative, a little too serious, a little too for where they were at that time. And now they're like, you're the only person that really had my back. You're the only person that really told me the truth. And I feel like they're realizing, wow, this was like real. So remember, when a person loses themselves for a while, I just feel like the person's foundation is like falling away. So they might have been really close with family and somebody died in their family. And that was the main person that kept everybody together. So now it's almost like this person doesn't know where they are. It's like they're floating, right? And they're floating because if we identify ourselves with our family or a job or a house or a car, whatever it is, and something happens to the car, to the house, to the relationship, well, then who are we? We're no one. We have to grow ourselves first. So we're seeing a root chakra imbalance with this person, especially if they're reliving negative karmic cycles. But again, they're thinking about you, which I believe, now don't get mad at me, but I believe that it's like there needs to be a catalyst. Why would I want to heal? Let's face it. It feels good to check out when you're going through shit. It feels good to be imbalanced if you've been imbalanced. Healing doesn't feel good. So it requires love. It requires something. Now, this could be lust because this person might not have given you the time, but nevertheless, it's a spiritual connection. So the fact that they can't stop thinking about you and they're looking around at their life and they're not happy, well, again, it's time for them to heal. Why does this keep happening? I hide behind material things. That's why. On my things, on my stuff, on my, again, the root chakra. Like I said, when people aren't strong within themselves and really know who they are, they put a lot of emphasis on money. And so, again, not having a strong connection to oneself. Like, we're not our money, we're not our job, we're the energy of love, and we are multifaceted. So, you might have a job that you like, and then you have friends, and then you have a family, and then even if you're not married, still have a family that you come from. We're multifaceted, and that's without the hobbies, the interests, and all the other things that give us flavor, right? And that's how we know who we are. This person is like, instead of getting close and building the emotional connection, they drive around in a fancy car. They make you perceive that they're really busy, where I don't really believe that this person was really busy. I believe that they made good money. But obviously they weren't passionate about what they were doing, if that's what they're doing. People that are really passionate about what they do, they feed it more. And then what happens is, as one door closes, another door opens, the path unfolds while you're on it. And we're not guiding us. Remember, the Holy Spirit is guiding us. The universe is bringing us everything that we need. So this person is not doing that. They're giving the illusion that they're doing it, however. So you would think, oh, this person's a really great catch. The Spirit says, not so much. Especially if you don't feel that you have like a purpose, or because you're like, well, I'm not seeing the fruits of my labor. I'm not seeing it manifest. And Spirit says, again, it hasn't happened yet, but that's your perception. You're not in a place of faith. And Spirit says, again, this person says, well, nothing for nothing, I am becoming a better person, because I believe that this person was in a low vibe energy. Because if you're hiding behind material things and you're saying that you're material, you're still emotionally not getting fed. The car doesn't emotionally feed you after a while. It's not that you're not like, oh, I like my car, but you're not sleeping with your car. You're not, the car doesn't talk to you, doesn't give you emotional, whatever. And that's the thing that you have to get from human contact. You have to. And so that's what this person is seeing, that there's a desire for that, where I don't think before there ever was. So that the person has feelings. But what you also sense is there's detachment there. Like, yeah, why does the person have feelings for me, but I don't really feel that all the time? They're disconnected. Remember, they lose themselves for a while. I think when things get too emotional, this person kind of, I can't handle it. Hey, Truth Waver, thank you for joining the channel. I wish I could share my good news with you. It's, again, this person's happy that they're changing. They're like, my life is going to be different. And it's, again, that outside validation that this person is looking for too, because they kind of grew up with the same energy. You can feel that root chakra imbalance, because when do we find ourselves? We find ourselves really like in childhood and adolescence. And that's by, hey, I've always liked this. I've always been drawn to this. I've always, and the path unfolds, like I said. But if you grew up with a root chakra imbalance where there was money issues, well, guess what? No one was a child, because the focus was on survival. It was on money. It was on, what we felt. So people tend to live more safe. So this person, if you want to know what they're doing, and this makes sense, I'm not going to reach out to you, because, again, I don't know whether you want to hear from me. However, I'm going to wait for a sign from you. So this person's afraid of rejection. Not uncommon for a person that has a root chakra imbalance to have a second chakra imbalance, which is intimacy, trust. I want to show you my vulnerability. I can't unless I know that you like me first. It kind of is very like 5th grade, 6th grade. If Mary Sue likes me, it's okay that you tell her that Bobby likes. But don't say that I like her unless like she likes me first. It's kind of like that energy, which is you could be 50 like or 60 and still have that mentality. So emotionally not intelligent, what that tells you is that the person hasn't healed. Now, is it everyone that's 50? No, it could be someone that's 30 or 40, but nevertheless, what you see here is blockages. I know it was a distraction from your pain. And that's, again, you would never want to be with someone like me. You must have had a lot of going on in your life, so you didn't notice, or like there has to be a reason. So again, this person doesn't even feel like they're worthy of a relationship. Now that doesn't mean that they didn't show you the opposite. That's what the second chakra is. Person wears a mask. They're not going to show you that. They hid behind fancy material things. This is who I am. This is who I am. It's not who they are. What they are is there's nothing there. They feel like they're not worthy. They're not good enough. All those are shadows that need to be integrated. Otherwise, they're going to just bleed all over you, like hurt you. And it doesn't mean that the person doesn't have feelings for you. That's the problem. It's like they can't stop thinking about you, but you're on a higher vibration. What do you do with that? I feel lost without you. Again, that energetic connection. I don't even feel like that's really ever get off the ground for some of you, to be honest with you, because the person would never let you really get that close. Doesn't mean you didn't hang out once or twice, but you just felt like you couldn't get past the illusion of what they wanted you to perceive instead of them actually being in the relationship. But ESP through the heart and mind, it's that energetic pull that makes us be like, oh, well, you're my person. It's like, I want to feel that way again. I want that. And anybody would want it. Again, there's something I'm hiding from you. I feel like there's a lot of things that this person's hiding from you because they feel like you would not like who they were if you really knew. But you're the first person that makes me even care, because normally this person doesn't care. It's like, but I feel like they're torn because part of them is like, I want to let you in. I want to tell you everything. I'm becoming a better person. I'm happy. Like, and this is how I feel. I can't stop thinking about you. But the other part of themselves is like there's things that I hide from you. There's things that I'm embarrassed about. I check out. I'm not really, it's like this person knows, but they never cared. They never cared. So what makes a person care is, again, you're the first person that makes them feel this way because I still have this spiritual connection, but I don't really understand like how to navigate. And God says, well, thank God for that, because they don't know what they're doing. That's the issue. That spirit says, yeah, their ego is so big due to whatever has gone on in their life. So they create these big illusions of what they want you to perceive that they are, instead of actually putting the time and effort and energy in out of fear that you're not going to like them. So it's almost like, well, I still have my stuff. People still think that I'm that if it doesn't work out. And they're like, because I don't really believe that it would work out, because I think as soon as you wouldn't get to know who I was, you wouldn't stick around. And that's a them problem. But God says it doesn't matter, because when it's a soul relationship, they don't have a choice. And it's and because low vibe means low vibe. I still have this connection, so they get very jealous. If you're not talking to me, if you're not, you must be talking to somebody else. And then they begin to fantasize that you're with someone else, and it bothers them. Again, you're the first person that made them feel this way. They normally don't care. They're very comfortable living in the illusions, because they do get something when they're in that energy. They get people that assume they're that person, and they get people that want to be with them. It's like me saying, hey, you want to come to my house? I'll give you like $5,000 and then tickets to Disney. You'd be like, oh, I'm going to go. Of course I'm going to go. You'd run into it, because you'd be like, it's free money. And logically, it just makes sense. Well, this person leads with that. So they get people that then are like, I want to be with you. So they put in effort without this person putting in anything, and that's what it is. And that's because the people that they attract are empty. They don't have anything, and they're saying, well, if I'm with you, I get to have that lifestyle. That the way I see you have a nice car here and you have dressed nice, and I want some of that. You treat me nice, you're going to do that. And so it becomes unhealthy attachments, and that's what it is. It's like, that's not a real relationship. That's a toxic relationship. That's a codependent relationship. Doesn't mean that there's not a little bit of lust involved in the beginning. There has to be, but it's counterfeit. It's not unconditional love. It's not where this person would say, I never felt this before. They've had lust before. They've had that and they've attracted that, but it's always unhealthy attachments. The fact that you're like, I'm not going to put her up with this shit. You're showing this person that this is not an unhealthy attachment, darling, because I am not unhealthy. I am healthy, which is forcing this person to become a better person because, hey, let's face it, if you eat at McDonald's and you say, oh, you're hungry, you never ate anything, you're like, oh, I'm starving, the burger tasted so good. But let's just say you got introduced to a steakhouse or to like a vegetarian cuisine, if that's your thing, or the best pizza place. You'd be like, there's so many other better choices. Really. And that's what this person is seeing. There's so many better choices. I've been eating the fucking stale burger that's been microwaved about 5 times, but I don't give myself the emotional support. So at least it was something, right? Because we have to fill our own self up through our passion for life. So this person doesn't do that. So they're like, at least it's something, the burger, but then you come along as filet mignon, you come along as like their favorite dish and they're like, well, I would rather that. I never experienced that before. I didn't even think that existed. Didn't even think that was on the menu. Wait a minute, I want a do-over. And the spirit says, yeah, you're not going to get that with this person because you were an asshole. That's really why this person's like, I would contact you now, but instead I'm going to sit here and hold back and get jealous. And as God says, hold my beer. The person's going to do what I tell them to do. I act like I don't care when deep down I really do. And Spirit says, I know that. I don't care what you show this person. It's like, but I'm going to put a fire underneath your ass. And I'm going to make your life move ahead. That's the thing. I'm making changes for the better, and the thing is they are battling inner demons. And part of that is their ego. And part of that is the coping mechanisms, the unhealthy attachment. You're getting something, otherwise they wouldn't be sitting there. And it's like, if all else doesn't work out with you, I'll be with one of those people. And that's this person. So they never really, they're never vulnerable. They're never really vulnerable. And that's the issue. It's like, what you see is they're still in their ego, but Spirit says, yeah, well, the bigger they are, the harder they fall. They can try and do whatever they try to do for however long they're going to try and do it. But I always win, The universe says they might realize it when it's too late, though, because if they, continue to be in their ego, that kind of annoys the universe, where the universe like, fuck you, bring in the other person, bring in the other twin flame, bring in the other one, replacement. This person needs to be taught a lesson. They think that they're going to hold back and they're going to play games because they don't want to be vulnerable, and that it was okay for them to treat you the way that it was. It's not okay. The universe says they're going to do whatever they want to do. What eventually this person, I pulled away because I'm overwhelmed with all the things going on in my life, and that's what started that. But this person, I feel like they pulled away before that. They're going to say, it's like, yeah, things aren't working out in my life now. Yeah, things aren't working out in your life because you always pick karmic and unhealthy attachments that, eventually those people want their due too. They're people also, regardless. And they're like, you sold me a fucking cow and I got a fucking frog. I don't want the frog. Give me the cow. And the person's like, I sold it. Yeah, I said I was going to give you that, but I'm going to give you this. And that makes this person miss you because you're like, you came in and you said, oh, no, I'm not going to accept that fucking cow because I know it's a frog. I know whatever it is that you're like selling me is bullshit. So I'd rather not. And so this person got cocky, had unhealthy attachment, and still has some unhealthy attachments there, which they have to let go. That's their inner demons because they don't want to seem vulnerable. But Spirit's saying, I'm making them change, but this doesn't mean that you have to be with this person. But understand they do have feelings and it's killing them that you're not talking to them because this person really wants to start over, because believe it or not, you're the person of their dreams. And that's, again, they get a little carried away. Spirit says, remember, they go straight to lust because, again, this person pretended to be someone that they weren't, and now they feel like, well, maybe I just should have just showed you who I was. And that's really what Spirit's saying. You know what? If you would have shown this person really who you were, they would have been with you. But now that you did all that, now they may not be with you, and that's why they cut their energy, and that's why this person is becoming more and more jealous and can't be obsessive, where they can't stop thinking about you because I never really showed you who I was. So, and now I'm seeing the difference between these people and you, and I still have feelings for you, but I would rather you come to me because I can't deal with getting rejected. So, like I said, this person wants you to be patient with them. And maybe you're like, again, I don't want to be patient, which is actually how this reading started. It's like, because you're like, I'm not seeing shit anywhere. And so, and the Spirit's saying, yeah. It's like everything's in divine time. You can't like rush this. This person's going to come back, but I feel like they may come back after your opportunity. And if they do, well, then they're really going to be like freaked out because Spirit might say, well, they took a little too long. And you know what? You decided to go pick curtain number 2, not curtain number 1. Thank God, because it was a zonk. It was this person that doesn't know their ass from their elbow and wants to take a million years. So you actually got the Fabioli of your dreams, whether that's a guy or girl, you got that person. And the Spirit says, like, again, where I feel like you're like that, like at this point, a lot of you are going to be like, I don't want this at all. Because I feel this is the end. And it's like, understand, I'm going to find out one way, like you will find your way back to me one day. But who's to say that I'm going to be sticking around for that? It's like you already disrespected because you gave into temptation, and the whole time that you had the opportunity to be with me, it was a one-sided connection because that's all that you have, because you have a lot of attachments. You have a lot of unhealthy attachments. So it's always that way. So once you get comfortable, you just revert back to who you were, which is what I feel like you're going to tell this person. Now, I mean, it's a collective reading. Some of you might give this person a chance, but if you give this person a chance, don't let them right back into your life. It was like, because a person gets comfortable, they have spiritual blockages. That's what And they have spiritual blockages right on the top there. And, that's the thing. They have blockages from previous relationships, unhealthy attachments, but you're not that, but they're only used to dealing with people like that. So unless they actually put in the time to get to know you and nurture the connection and really create that intimacy, where we're talking about trust, not bedroom, then the relationship's not going to work. And that's the issue. The issue has nothing to do with, does this person have feelings for you? They're crazy about you. They like you. Even though that what you see is, well, they would be unstable because they're used to just being, free, like wild at heart, like not picking anyone. So their habits and their behaviorisms due to past blockages still would, as soon as they get real close, intimately wise, it means that they would always take a step back until they eventually felt safe. So does that mean you can't be with this person? No. What it means is that you'd really have to put yourself into your career and not and get your emotional needs not just from this person. I'm not saying that they wouldn't give you anything, but you'd have to get them from other things. And Spirit says, so you may be with your new career stepping into that energy that would be possible. Understand you're not getting rid of this person that easily when they come back. So, and I say that because if a person actually surrenders their ego and they're making their way back to you, believe me, they've already talked themselves out of coming back a few thousand times. So they're going to come back, and this person normally gets what they want, once they finally make the decision up, that is. So it's about the timing. I've watched you change and grow so much. I'm trying to release my attachment to identity so I can change too. Again, you got to stop hiding behind material things. This is what this person is saying. Well, you already know that there are subconscious fears affecting our ability to attract love and abundance. And that we already talked about yours in the beginning. And you already see this person's, and it's blocking you, but the universe is helping both of you to make them conscious so that you can easily attract what you want, including each other. So the universe is working as magic, and that's how your reading started. With the universe, like, God, don't do my job. You like to try and control things and make things fast, and you worry in your mind. Get out of your head. Be in the moment. Trust. It's again, I'm beginning to focus on our mission, and our connection is part of that. So this person wants to come in and help you with whatever it is that you're doing. So they may be a twin, but it doesn't mean you have to take this person back. You have free will and what you choose, because Spirit says, you know what, I don't care whether they take the person back or not, because they already learned the lesson. And if you say no, then they're really going to learn the lesson. And for you, you had to put your energy into creating yourself and learning. Again, our union energy needs clearing. So here it is. Spirit saying it's like now this created a lot of blocks also. So I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. I'm grateful for you. So this has nothing to do with love. What this has to do is a lot of blockages on both sides. It's like where Spirit says you're in a holding spot. It's like because you need to clear that, and this person needs to clear their shit. It's like otherwise, there would be no mission. There would be no grander purpose to the relationship. God says, I bring someone into your life to help you change and for this person to change. Because a lot of times we're blocked in a perception. But if someone makes you mad enough and you're putting your energy into yourself, well, we can see the mission unfolding again. But in the meantime, it's not like this person and you don't project your patterns onto each other. And then you both don't know what's real, what's not real, because you're like, well, you're holding back and you're not giving. You make me feel not loved. You make me feel not seen. You make me feel, so how dare you? You better come in and do X, Y, Z. I need to see. And Spirit says that's a pattern. And this person is like, well, I'll wait for you because I don't really know whether you want to hear from me. And real slow energy, like anything. Where this would, you of course would want to punch this person because you're like, where is it? Hurry up. What the fuck? It's been a long time like this. And this person's like as slow as molasses. So it would trigger you both where you're like, what the fuck? And then this person already feels inadequate, already feels like they're not deserving of you. And you're pretty much saying, you're not deserving of me. And they're like, I already know that. That's why I wasn't in a relationship with you. So is that what they're thinking? No, they're like intimidated by you because of how they acted before. But you're like, I don't give a fuck. I've had it. I've had it with all of you. And I've had it with you. And God says, and that's the pattern that you're in right now. That needs to be clear. You're like, I don't fucking care. It's like because you get frustrated. It's frustrating to deal with this. It's like either you do or you don't, shit or get off the pot. It's like, I don't have time, whatever this is. Our ego is fragile to criticism and rejection. You see that? Spirit says, so you're both going to be like in this energy. That's what happens. It's like, which is the patterns that keep projecting. So this process would be a lot smoother if there weren't a lot of blockages, Spirit says. But when you have like a twin flame, that there is unconditional love. It's not that there is not, but there's all those wounds. It's just like, this is what I'm getting. I'm tired of this energy. You would be tired of it because you're like, I feel like it's so unnecessary. Yes, I get triggered because of the way that you are, the fact that you're not honest, the fact that you do XYZ, where you're like, again, I know that I'm right. And Spirit says, but you don't have to be, you didn't need to stay connected to this energy. You had expectations and you're like, that was my worst crime. And spirits know your worst crime was projecting. Their behavior had something to do with you and not them. It's again because they allowed them to make you feel that way about you. You should have taken your energy sooner and said, I'm going over here. And Spirit says, because see, the moment that you did that, now this person's like, oh, they're getting jealous. Oh my God, where are you? Oh, you disconnected. I don't feel you anymore. Oh, and you're like, well, it was okay that you checked out because you didn't want to deal with it. Yeah, but you don't normally do that. So understand the Spirit, this person put them in a place where it's like the universe brought us together for a reason, that there has to be some sort of reason to this. Why would I be in this torture? And you need to be saying that too. Like, what the fuck? Why would you do this? And Spirit says, again, you need to clear certain patterns. And this person is coming into your life to do it. It's a very difficult relationship. It's at a particular time where things are happening in your life. You got to stay grounded. Remember, this person, like I said, they've for a large part of their time, they have always wound up in very unhealthy attachments where they've given most of their power away to people and they're learning boundaries. And it was mainly because their inner child was wounded when their parent wasn't there. So they don't really have like the appropriate attachment. It has nothing to do with you. However, it's kicking up all your feelings and emotions, and actually everything is right now, Spirit says, because I'm asking you to become strong in yourself. So again, that are you suffering now? No. It's like, no, but there's not enough money. And God says, money has no energy except the energy that you give it. If you stay mad and you push it the way that you want to push it, when meanwhile you're going into a whole other career path, it looks like something else is opening up for you or a new opportunity is opening up for you. Well, then you're only fighting against yourself. Focus needs to be on that. You need to be more grounded. Again, this person is going to eventually make their way back. We don't see it in this reading, though. What you see is a lot of triggers. You see a lot of triggers because so the universe says, well, they have a lot of blockages too. The twin flame grows up the same way. Just they learned how to deal with it different. And God says they have gifts where you don't have gifts. They need some of your medicine and vice versa. This person's so slow. They're very logical, very analytical, where you, again, are intuitive, you're emotional, you're fast. And Spirit says neither one is good. It needs to be balanced. So that's just one example of the many different things that when it says opposites attract, Spirit's saying, I'm trying to balance you both. It's again, so there is purpose, but the only way that you really be able to balance is through the act of creation, which is why this person is like, I feel like whatever your soul's path is, I'm probably a part of it. And you might be like fuck you are, because you weren't here. So Spirit says, yeah, they're going to have to work their way back into that spot. But again, their heart's closed. So that's why Spirit says, I'm going to make them have to do it. It's uncomfortable for them, but you have to dangle something. Well, you want this, which is the package, which is you. Well, then you got to step it up. And this person's like, well, I am becoming a better person. It's like it is forcing them to heal now. So Spirit says, well, that's all that really I care about. I don't really care whether you're with this person, you're without this person. I don't care. You may care. If you care, then again, but understand if it's not that person, they'll be replaced by somebody else. It doesn't mean that you have to force yourself to be with somebody that's not in your life. Okay, so we look at the inner child wounds because we have to say, why did you attract this person into your life? What is the whole spiritual significance? And how are you going to transmute the negative energy? Really, that's what Spirit always says. It's like not just about integration, like how are you going to embody a new consciousness? Because you have to see yourself differently. And that means do something different. Oh, now let's pull some more wound cards. We'll just pull 3, and then we'll look at the transmutation cards. Get in. All right. And we'll read them all together. I think like 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. All right, let's see what the inner child cards are. We see support, suppression, and shame. You know, those cards alone, you know that there would be a lack of discipline. You know, discipline in creating yourself, discipline with having to do the things that you need to do for yourself. And shame, when someone shames you, again, money issues, you know, and I say that because look at this, money wounds shows up as inner conflict between spiritual worth and material abundance. Creating a scarcity, unworthiness, or fear, instability may lead to self-sabotage, which, did we see that? We didn't see that, but shame usually brings self-sabotage. And it's because when there's no support, because, hey, your parents are suffering from financial issues, which it said in the beginning, and it's saying it again now, which is actually, it said that you inherited it, but now it's showing up within your family. When we look at the inner child wounds, it's like there's no support because the focus is on money, the worry of money, the worry that there's not enough money. So we're in our mind, we're not disciplining ourselves. So again, you also inherited that where your parents couldn't be there because they were too worried about their financial needs, their worries. So again, not having that family, it's a little bit of you suppress yourself because as a child, maybe you were oppressed where it was like, no, you can't join that. We don't have the money for that. Or, you know, you can't do that. So oppression is a lot worse than suppression. Suppression is, I may just fact of what you want. Oppression is, I'm literally going to stop doing what it is that you need. So again, when there's no support, so it could be that your parents were just neglectful in that area. Like again, it wasn't important for you to join things and find yourself and become yourself. It was more important to go to school. It was more important to get an A on that math test. And then where are you going to college? And what do you do? It's again, not suppression. It's like, well, I'd like to figure things out a little bit on my own. I don't really know what I want to do for the rest of my life at 16 years old or 17 years old. I need to, you know, no, you're not. You're going to go to college because if you don't go to college, then you're never going to go. And it's, again, a lot of my beliefs, my way. And so what happens is it's like, yeah, I did it, but I still don't feel a connection to it. And thank you so much, Truth Wave. So, you know what I mean? So that's what winds up happening. So you see a lack of time and attention, which a lot of times parents, when there's financial issues, they waste a lot of time. It's like procrastination up in their head, not in their body. So it's just saying that you inherited a lot of the same habits and behaviorisms, which is said in the beginning, which I like when it is consistent like that, where Spirit says, but don't worry, You're facing your fears. I'm making you. So you're changing. That's how you go through the fire. And it's helping you transform, right? That so you're turning the pain into power. And that's what's going to bring you on to your soul's calling. So Spirit says, listen to the higher self, which brings you to the beginning of the reading again, where Spirit's saying it's like release control. You're not in charge of how we get there or what it looks like. It's happening. You have a lack of faith. And it's due to that ancestral karma that you grew up in where there was a lack of money. That's not what's happening now. Don't do my job. Do your job. Rise above. See beyond your immediate fears. It's like Spirit saying, all I'm asking you to do is align yourself, align your heart's true desires and follow your passion. But this is not a person. Understand, even though there's a person on this, this is follow your passion for life, your, again, soul's purpose. Then you're in alignment, and then you can attract a person, whether it's this person coming back, because you're going to, again, hold them to a certain level, again, which the twin flame usually is. They're not coming back fully healed. You're holding them accountable to that, and they have such intense love that you're making them, or you just pull in someone new that's going to treat you on that level, is Spirit saying, because you're balanced. You're taking care of yourself. Understand, you're becoming yourself. You weren't allowed to do that. So there's, again, a sense of not knowing who you are. So you attract someone that's the same for the same exact reasons, but they also are becoming themselves at this time. They're becoming a better person. They're healing now. So when they come back, they're not going to be the same, but they're not coming back right now. Spirit says, this is about you right now, healing. And off. Yes, inner strength. Look at that. Spirit says that nervous system. Oh, God. And again, your emotions. This is all about you building inner strength, because again, that your mind is dictating, and Spirit says that that's not strength. Strength is being rooted in your physical body that's connected to source, and you can feel it in your gut. You don't know how, you just know. You feel it in your heart, and then yes, it makes sense in your head, but it's these two centers, the heart and the gut. Spirit says that you're strong. I know what I'm doing. Spirit says nothing should move you from your path to light, because you have complete confidence in yourself. You realize your innate qualities and your abilities, and know that with God that you can do anything, that nothing is out of your reach. There's a lack of faith that came through all this reading, where Spirit said, I don't like the fact that there's a lack of faith. You're judging yourself on your family's life and experiences that you live, but you're healing. You're in a place of healing right now. You're not the same person. It says all the power you need is within yourself. It just hasn't happened yet. Know your worth, Spirit says. Be true to you. I'm going to leave that there. Thanks for sharing your energy with me today. If you resonated, please give the video a like, subscribe to the channel. And if you need shadow coaching, subscribe to that. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.